From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Laura Brodnick.
And I'm Em Vernon.
And today is an episode that we have been waiting to do ever since news reached our ears that this new documentary was dropping on Netflix.
Oh my God. I'm so excited to do this. And I'm also so excited to show how much I know about Victoria Beckham since I was previously bullied for not knowing that much.
So yes, this is our brutally honest review of the Victoria Beckham documentary that came out on Netflix over a week ago. Now, we have a lot of lore with this particular title because a few weeks ago, just to catch people up, we heard that the documentary was coming. We got very excited.
We talked about the trailer.
Yes, we talked about the trailer and I was so excited because I was like, oh my God, I know so much about Victoria Beckham. She's so important, but I can't wait to know more.
Yeah.
And then you let it slip innocently, not knowing
one of the many things I regret saying on mic.
not knowing the avalanche of criticism that was about to come your way.
Full bullied.
That you didn't
I
know
got
much
called a
about
stupid
the Spice
little girl.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's mean. That's actually not in the spirit of the Spice
By an
Girls.
anonymous person, put your name on your comment. That's what I want to say before you jump in my DMs.
Can I just say, the Spice Girls were all about girl power and sometimes not knowing stuff,
Yeah,
and they wouldn't
clearly
have liked that.
you don't know about the Spice Girls.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't have called me a stupid little girl.
Which led to us doing a whole episode where I schooled Em on the Spice Girls.
Yes.
But not the important stuff, so not their record sales.
Oh my God.
Not
The amount of comments we've gotten on this episode, so we did a brutally honest review of just the Spice Girls,
Yeah.
which is basically, it was more like a lesson,
Yeah.
like a history lesson.
their
But
roguish
the
moments
amount
of
of
history.
people who've like messaged me saying how much they love that episode, Spice Girls fans, you were saying stuff that even like massive Spice Girls fans didn't know happened.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know half this stuff because I was a child when they were famous.
Oh
I
my
went
God.
deep into the archives.
There's a video on social of me just reacting to
Yeah.
things that LB's saying. I'm like, what? Geri!
Yeah, you were like on the floor.
It was insane.
And
They've been through
also-
so much in 2 years.
I know, and also I got so many messages saying like, Laura, you forgot to tell Em this, forgot to tell Em this and that, and I was like, guys, we didn't have time for all the
Yeah.
stories. Everyone was very sad I didn't tell you about Geri and Mel B hooking up. I know. I can't believe you don't know that.
Wait, no.
Yeah, we need a documentary on that. Do you not know this story?
What are you talking about?
Oh my God. Okay, guys, super quick segue. Then we walk into the documentary.
No, come on.
So there were always rumours because Geri and Mel B, as discussed in our brutally honest review of the Spice Girls, which we will link for anyone who hasn't listened because it is our best work. There were always rumours that Geri and Mel B had this very fiery relationship, but there were also rumours that they had hooked up.
What?
Now, they never said anything about that and it was never like confirmed. But then a few years ago, Mel B was on a talk show and she got asked directly if she and Geri had like at least one hookup. And she said yes. They have hooked up at least once.
Geri.
Isn't that great? And apparently Geri was upset at her for saying that because you know how Geri's like married to a billionaire now, lady of the manor, raising
And also
her kids.
like that would have been around the time where Christian Horner's alleged affair was happening as well.
Yeah, that's the rich guy she married. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the timeline there, but I think Geri was a bit like, that's not the persona I want to put out right now.
Yeah.
But I love that for them. They're besties now again. It's fine.
Oh.
Or are they? Some stuff came out in the documentary, which we will get to.
Oh my God. Okay.
So the Victoria Beckham Netflix documentary. So there was a lot of hype for this because the documentary that had come out previously that was more centered on David and Victoria, but also David's life and career, was a huge hit. And
It was massive.
brought this whole new audience to the Beckhams, to David and Victoria, and made them a lot more beloved, I think, than they had been before.
I think they were really encapsulated that like, we're just a normal family who all love each other. Well, I mean, we know what happened after that. but I think like that documentary, like that celebrity documentary, I think that one in particular was one of the best ones ever done.
Oh, really? Out
Yeah,
of all the
Beckham.
celeb
Yeah.
documentaries. I mean, yeah, it was really intriguing. I guess because we knew so much about them. They do interviews, but we hadn't sort of had that, at least a slightly intimate look
Yeah.
into their personal lives.
But
And
I also think the sports like part of it
Yeah.
really drove that documentary.
and people just became obsessed with them as a couple
Yeah.
in a new way that seemed them dancing together and everyone was
Yeah.
recreating the dance and everything. So I thought they were like, let's come back for round 2. We'll make people love Victoria and her fashion brand even more. So the documentary Victoria Beckham promised us an intimate inside look into the world of Victoria Beckham and her career and her life and her family in a way that we had never seen before. So you've watched all 3 episodes of the documentary. Do you think we got that?
Okay, this is what I want to say.
I'll say it.
From what I've talked about this documentary to so many of my friends, and surprisingly, a lot of my friends know a lot about Victoria Beckham.
Mhm.
They think the documentary was not good.
Interesting.
I loved it.
I loved it too. I think I loved it because I watched it knowing exactly what it was supposed to be. So this is what we always talk about when things are mislabeled.
Yeah.
When you promise people, it's like with Materialists.
It's a little bit of a rage bait.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, I think it's just like it's advertising that doesn't promise what the product actually is, whereas what the product is fine. But again, it's like Materialist. A lot of people went into that movie thinking it was a sexy, fun little rom-com with Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans and Pedro Pascal, and instead it's like this intimate drama about what happens when you die alone. And so people didn't like it. It's the same with the Mean Girls musical. Like people went into it thinking it was just Mean Girls, and then they were tricked into not knowing it was a musical until they got into the cinema. So then they were upset.
Like, why are they singing?
Those videos of people like when they first start singing Mean Girls and people start screaming in anger is like so funny. And I think the same with Victoria Beckham. People were promised this really intimate look and you got a little bit of that, but really it's just a very curated production from her of how she wants the world to see her right now.
And it's also just a
which
big
is
ad
interesting
for her.
Yeah, it's a massive ad for her
label. And you know
label.
what? Guess what? The minute I finished that documentary, I went on David Jones and saw if I could buy that shirt and I couldn't afford it.
Absolutely not. Well, we're not, that brand is not for us.
No, but if we pulled in together, we could buy a shirt for me.
Okay. Which is my dream.
The one that says Fashion Stole My Smile.
Oh,
it's over $200.
I'm just going to say now that I know Victoria Beckham sizing and that's not going to get over my boobs. But it's my dream. We could just make our own.
We could get a lip liner.
Yeah, we could share a lip liner.
Yeah, share the spill lip liner.
So instead of an intimate portrait, we did get a few things. So going back to the first episode is very much looking into her childhood and her early life, which had been kind of a bit of the breakout story from the David and Victoria Beckham documentary. Because then there's that whole thing where Victoria's talking to camera in that documentary and saying
the one meme that came out of that documentary.
They're really working class and David's like, be honest.
He like pops his head. He heard it. He's like, my wife's trying to sound relatable again. Got to go stop this. And he's like, be honest. And he's like, what did your dad drive you to school in? And she's like, we were working class. He's like, be honest. And she's like, Rolls Royce.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Victoria Beckham has been trying to make herself very working class since she first became famous. And obviously, like, I don't think her parents were super, super rich, but they did drive... They
didn't start. They were self-made, her parents, because she talked about, and they also interview her parents, and they live in this massive house.
She's like, my parents sold to the earth. They still live in the house they have when they were married. You're like, yeah, because that house is a mansion.
It's a mansion. It's huge.
With huge grounds.
Yeah. And she talked about like her dad like kind of created his own business. So he was like very business orientated. But I think because she saw like the working class then becoming rich, she kind of like, I guess, feels like she can relate to it.
If you're not the richest person in your class, like it's all relative, the amount of people who especially when they become famous, who think they grew up poor but actually didn't once they look around. I always think of that conversation that Amy Poehler and Dax Shepard had on his podcast, and they both said all through like the first few decades of their career when they became famous, they would say in all their interviews, we grew up poor, my family had nothing. And then both their families had to come to them and be like, we weren't actually. And they both realized now they weren't, they just like weren't rich, which isn't the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because in all the earlier books about the Spice Girls, the story they always tell is that when Victoria got famous, she would tell everyone that like that she wanted her parents to drive them to school in the van, not the Rolls Royce, because they get made fun of and all these sorts of things. So she's been trying to be working class for a long time.
Imagine your kids becoming so famous and they're like, we grew up poor, our parents are poor, and you're like, we what? What do you
You're
mean?
sitting watching them on TV in your mansion. They're like, I grew up in a shed.
I grew up in a shed. My parents had no money.
It makes for a better story. So then we see Victoria. It also, like I was saying when we did our initial review, it also has that slight kind of Meghan Markle tint to the beginning of her story where Victoria Beckham is doing, because so much of the documentary is showing clips from the past and then filming in present day. And it's also her and other people who know her talking to camera. And in those first few clips in the first episode of her talking to camera, she's talking about the fact that she was always felt that she was an outsider at school. She said she was bullied, and she's basically saying that she was an ugly duckling, the same way Meghan Markle always says that she was a bit of an ugly duckling. The issue with that is, and maybe I'm sure she felt that way, and she talks about being bullied quite extensively, and I'm sure that is probably true. But then it cuts to her.
And she looks stunning.
She's stunning.
Yeah.
That is the story of every terrible...
I know that video editor's like, oh, what the hell?
The video editor called Netflix and was like, do we have anything where she looks ugly?
Yeah.
Where she looks like she's even like she's got a bit of acne, a buck tooth, anything.
And they're like, yeah, we sent it to you. And he's like, okay.
And she's performing for her class and she looks so pretty.
And she's doing a solo.
Yeah, and they're
Oh
all
my God.
clapping for her. And she's like, that was my darkest time. It's like all those kind of like teen fantasy books where the girl who's like the main character is saying how she's not attractive, and when all the supernatural creatures meet her, like she's beautiful.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't know
I'm
it.
not attractive.
Do you think we're beautiful
I
and we
get
just don't
burned
know
with
it?
my porcelain skin. My unblemished porcelain skin.
Yeah. All
I'm
these
so
things.
light, I just float away on a cloud.
I'm still hoping for that reveal that I've been
Never touch the ground. I'm so
still-
tiny.
Every woman in a fantasy book. Every woman in a fantasy book, Meghan Markle, Victoria Beckham.
My
I know, I'm
beautiful
still-
long curly locks, I can only tame them in a braid.
Well, if we are secretly beautiful, do let us know. If we're not, please keep that to yourself.
No more
So
trolls, please.
Yeah, leave Emma alone.
Leave me alone.
She's been through enough. So we sort of see that through her childhood, but we also see how she wanted to be famous so badly. And what I thought was a really interesting reveal is that her parents... The thing about people who become famous is I'm finding their parents just really believed in them. I don't know what that's like. But her parents remortgaged the house to send her to all these dance schools and give her all this professional training. This is what I thought was interesting, and this has been really glossed over. They like pretty much put their entire lives on the line to make their daughter famous because they thought she was a star, probably because she was beautiful.
Yeah.
And when they went to one of her first big concerts, they realized that she wasn't actually that good and she'd been put in the back row. Remember that bit?
I don't remember that bit, but that's
that was huge.
Funny.
Her parents are talking to camera. That's in the beginning of I think no one else picked it up, but they were just like, yeah, we got there. And they're like, oh, she's been put in the back row. Like, she's not good. And they're also talking about the fact, and then it gets a bit more serious because they're talking about the fact that the school was saying that she was overweight and were treating her really badly. And her mum's like, imagine saying that to basically a child.
Yeah.
And that obviously went on to kind of spur a lot of the eating disorder content.
And that went
she
into
talks
her
about.
adulthood. Like when she was weighed on national TV and stuff, like that never ever left her.
Yeah, exactly. So we see that, and we see her sort of like that moment where she's graduated and she's going in to be like a professional performing artist and she's going to school. And then we segue into the Spice Girls auditions. What did you think of that moment?
Oh my God, I was locked in.
Yeah,
in
I
those
thought you would
clips.
be.
I couldn't tell what was like actual like archival footage and what was footage from what I'm presuming is Spice World.
Okay, I do know. So that when she goes in, she sings a musical theatre song. She was the only girl in the auditions who sings
I remember that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I remember going, oh, this is when she's singing musical theatre. And I remember you telling me that like everyone else was singing poppy songs. And I'm like, you know, she's a pretty good singer.
No, she's a great singer.
Yeah.
I said she got the highest marks in the audition.
So why did they always put her on the chorus?
I don't know. Why didn't they let her
Why
sing in
does she
Wannabe?
not get-
We don't know.
She doesn't get one verse in any song.
I know. They're always like, hey, Victoria, why don't you walk out and pretend to take a photo of yourself? And she's like, okay. I know. Justice for Victoria. Yes, that is archival footage of her first Spice Girls audition. I lost my mind when I saw that because I hadn't seen that before.
I can't believe she sang that song. Like her parents are remortgaging the house.
Yeah.
And then like you bring out that bullshit.
No, that was great. I thought that was the perfect.
That's a risk.
It is a risk, but it made her stand out, and it's a difficult song to sing.
Oh my God.
So it was, I think it made her stand out against like the dozens of girls who were all singing like the pop song of the moment.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed her range.
I was
And
like,
she was doing
I was
a
just
dance.
like, that's just, you know what it's like? So
What?
similarly, Lewis Hamilton, famous race car driver.
Yeah.
He also grew up in like a poor family. Like
But a
they
real
didn't have
poor family.
a real poor family.
He's like, we only had 2 pools.
Like literally, no, they were poor, which is
Yeah.
like so uncommon for race car drivers because they're all nepo babies.
Yeah.
So they actually were struggling to make money to put him into like go-karting and stuff. That's the equivalent of him going to a race and I don't know, like riding a motorcycle or a bike and going, I'm just trying something different for you guys.
He's in a go-kart, like pushing with his feet. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to show you
and
what
his
I can
parents
do.
are like, Lewis, what the hell?
Well, I think you can say it worked out for Victoria Beckham. So that's the original footage from
Yeah.
the auditions. The clip you're talking about is from the Spice World movie, the
Oh.
one where they're on the bus.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, I nearly died because as previously stated, I know a few of you have been sending us links and we are going to try them. You can't get that movie anywhere.
Yeah.
And so you had a look at the original Spice World movie. And that is one of my favourite scenes.
And
I
it
was
looked really
screaming.
good because they're so bad at acting, but it's so fun.
But they're playing themselves. So the scene they
Which
used,
makes it even weirder that they're so bad.
I love that the scene that they played from the Spice World movie was to show that Victoria loved the brand Gucci.
I know.
But the scene they
Are you going to wear the
picked-
Gucci dress or the Gucci dress? Or the Gucci dress?
That's not the line.
Oh. What is the line?
The line is, so they're on their bus. The bus is a huge part of the movie because it's a normal bus from the outside, but when they get on the bus, it's
Yeah,
the
Harry
size
Potter.
it's Harry
Yeah.
Potter. It's the size of this office,
Yeah.
and they all have their own areas.
Yeah.
And they get on, they're getting ready, and Victoria says a line. My brother's gonna hate this. My brother quotes this all the time because he grew up watching the Spice World movie with us. I never know what to wear. That's what Victoria says. And then Mel
This
B
is
goes,
so evident of like men who've only had sisters.
anytime one of my sisters always say anything about getting dressed or getting ready, he says that line. It's going to kill me. He doesn't listen.
Come on.
It's fine.
Come on, Andrew.
Yeah,
Give it a listen.
And then she says it 3 times. She goes, it's such a big decision between the little Gucci dress, or the little Gucci dress. And
Who says
Victoria
that?
goes, Mel C.
Yeah, Mel C.
And Victoria goes, and she's holding up a little Gucci dress. And she goes, exactly. Like
that was really well done.
Thank you. I've watched it 1,000 times.
Clapping effects.
And that was to show all of their different personas. It's at the first part of the movie.
Okay. I really want to watch this movie.
Oh, I know. Okay, we're going to figure it out.
Okay. No spoilers.
No spoilers. So we kind of see the build up there and we go a little bit into like her Spice Girls lore. But at the same time, what you're also seeing is the moment where she decided that she didn't want to be a pop star anymore.
Yeah.
She kind of doesn't get into the fact that she did try to be a solo artist. That's where the documentary...
You kind of hinted to it. Like you see her kind of performing with like some DJs and stuff, which was news to me. I had no idea she tried to do a solo thing.
Oh, yeah. I think she actually went the hardest to be a solo artist. Again, things that the documentary skimmed over. Again, because I think she's trying to tell the story she wants to tell. And you're seeing this footage of her on stage and the voiceover that she's saying is like, I realized I didn't want to be there anymore and I didn't know what I wanted to do and all these kind of things. But what she kind of skipped over is that she released a solo album and a lot of singles. And I think the singles kind of did okay-ish, but no hits. And then the album did terribly.
Was Geri getting hits?
Yeah, because Geri came out with a lot of bangers and I think a lot of, and like re-recorded a lot of hit songs, like It's Raining Men. And then she recorded Look at Me, which is a banger of a pop song. Sometimes I still listen to it.
Oh my God.
I don't know any of Victoria's solo songs. I think I did listen when they came out. No, they were not bops.
Oh no.
And she tried. She's not a natural like performer on stage.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Which is what she says in the doco. She
But
realized.
I don't know if it's just, you know how sometimes people say like if you have a lot of girls together, they kind of like cancel each other out. And I think like when they're on stage together, I remember her being great. And she was great. I don't want to take that away from her. But it's interesting that she couldn't carry that over to a solo career.
Yeah.
Because she did try. She did a big, like she would tour, she would go on TV shows and sing, she would perform, like she would really getting out there to sell her music and no one was buying it. Again, it did okay because she's Victoria Beckham, but she didn't really have any breakout hits.
Well, she also talked about how she wanted to be more than just like David Beckham's wife.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where you start seeing her try a lot of different things and like really push that like entrepreneur like spirit that she has like quite harshly in a way that she was like, I don't care how this makes me look. I just need to do something different.
Yeah. It's interesting too how like there's all those scenes where you can see her coming out, like when he was playing for Real Madrid, I think it was, when she's coming in and out of the hotel in the hot pants and the singlet with and she's got her fake boobs and her hair extensions. I thought that was one of the interesting things is where she talks about the fact that she was trying to get attention.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
so
she
that
was like the OG wag.
Yeah, she didn't want to fall out of the conversation.
Yeah. Oh my God. Those like that whole storyline of her being a wag was so intense for me.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I think it was the fact that like it was all just about, like it started off and you see it in the documentary, like she was a Spice Girl, David Beckham had only just started out in football and it was a huge difference in like fame and she was the most famous one. Like she was the one who bought Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, huge. I thought it was important that he said all that because as we know later on the tables really did flip. But when they got together, she was world famous, like the most famous person in the world. And he was, had never heard of David Beckham until he married Victoria Beckham.
And
but
then
like worldwide, he wasn't famous. I'm sure
Yeah.
sports fans knew.
And then like they had that big wedding and she had Brooklyn, and then it's like kind of like switched after the Spice Girls, where then he just became so famous and like everyone was just following his career, and to the point where like everyone loved him so much that they started hating her
Yeah.
because they were like, why, like she's ruining his career.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he lives in her house.
I know there was that whole thing. Remember, people were angry that she called and told him she was pregnant right before he went to play like a really big game, and then people were booing her because they thought that her revealing her pregnancy had caused his team to lose.
Yeah, a pregnancy to the father of her child.
Yeah. So then we kind of see her like so much about this documentary, as you're saying, it's an ad for the house of Victoria Beckham.
And I bought into it.
Yeah, you did. Again, you were trying to buy the t-shirt. That's taking things too far.
I did what they needed me to do.
Again, I didn't. Yeah, I'm very conflicted about what I think of her as. Maybe not a designer. I mean, she says she designs them all herself, and I'm sure that's mostly true.
Well, she confessed she's not a drawer.
Yeah,
she's a draper.
She again, things we didn't know about until we watched this documentary.
And I'm like, oh, maybe I can be in fashion. I can drape.
You can drape. You can make a collection.
Well, I can drape on myself, which is what she does. She drapes on herself.
I think there might be a little bit more to it, but again, we didn't really get to see that
No.
side of it too much. But it's interesting because so much of the documentary, apart from trying to sell her wares to us, so much of the documentary is saying like, you've all misjudged Victoria Beckham. She's this incredible creative force. No one believed in her. Everyone underestimated her, and look what she can do and look what she's done. And there was an element of that. Like I think the documentary was really kind of pushing this big kind of fairy tale ending of how she came out on top. But I was never completely buying that story all the way through.
Why not?
I mean, no one starts a fashion brand without huge investment. Like it's just one of those things you can't do unless you have it's like becoming a race car driver. You can't do it unless you have a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make her any different. But I think there was so much in it talking about like, I don't know, just like the amount of times that David Beckham had to bail her out with his money over and over and over again.
I found that really interesting. Like I could kind of like feel the embarrassment she had.
Yeah. And not that I'm judging her for that. I don't know if I'm explaining that well. I just think that you kind of just watched her have such a kind of, I guess like it's twofold, because on one hand there's more pressure on her because everyone would have loved to see Posh Spice fail, and as Anna Wintour, who is in the documentary
and
quite a few times,
a lot of people were pushing her to fail
and stuff, but also so much of her fame is what brought in the attention and the headlines and the client base, and then the fact that company went for so many years losing such a huge extreme amount of money, and the fact that David was bailing her out and she was spending $70,000 on office plants.
And $15,000 for someone to order them.
Yeah. And flying chairs from one side of the world and back just because someone liked the beige color of this cushion. All these crazy things. It's like, I don't know if I can hold you up. I think what it is I can hold her up as a good designer, but I can't hold her up as a good businesswoman. And I think that's what she wanted us to think she was. But I was like, you're actually doesn't seem like you're that good at business. You just had enough power and fame and friends and family money from your husband to make your dream a reality.
Do you think she tried to push? Because like in the documentary, she even said like she was so embarrassed that it got to a point where she was spending so much frivolous money that she didn't realize. And like what was shown but not said was like these two men had to essentially bail her out.
Exactly.
It was like David Beckham and then her now business partner, who's like a man as well, had to like come in to help her out.
That's what I was thinking. Again, I don't think that women have to be held to this heightened sort of sense of like solo independence where you're only successful if you do it completely by yourself.
Yeah. And also like you have to be successful at every aspect.
Yeah. But I also, exactly right. But I also think there is sometimes that unspoken thing of like, it's like with the Spice Girls, it's that idea of like girl power, but also it's my husband's money and my male business partner who came in to, as she said, not just give her more money, but run the business side of it and advise her.
And even the way he chose to come on was also a bit icky for me.
Oh, with his wife.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it sounded like a lie. I'll just say it. That sounded like a lie.
Okay.
He said that just for the documentary.
Well,
I don't believe that's
it was
real.
A lie because it sounded bad.
There's no way a businessman who has that amount of money and for that amount of investment, for anyone who's on a cross-out section in the documentary, he's talking about he had turned down becoming a business partner of Victoria Beckham, and she was devastated because it was the last kind of thing that would save the business. And then he was taking his wife out on a date and she came down and looked beautiful. And then he's like, oh, why do you look so beautiful? And she said, well, I'm wearing Victoria Beckham. And then he decided to invest.
But there are businessmen who do that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, I think it's so common for like men to do that. Like I remember hearing stories about A-list actors wanting to like go to One Direction concerts and support them because their daughters really love One Direction.
No, I know, but
like there's a specific type of person.
No, I know, but there's a big
that.
difference between going to a One Direction concert and then investing $50 million into a brand that, unless it's
but
successful,
you don't think he actually
won't.
did that? Because he comes across as a person
I'm
who
sure
would do
there
that.
was more to it than that. He was just trying to tell like a fun story for
his
the
wife
camera.
going, you should do it. And I'm like, okay.
She's like, well, I'm wearing Victoria Beckham, of course, on the day you turn down the deal.
Oh God, can someone A-lister please listen to the spill when they're talking to their next businessman? Be like,
Just get some advice.
just get some advice, you know?
Yeah. So again, I know
Anyone
I don't
needs
sound like I'm
investment.
trashing Victoria Beckham, so obviously I do love her. But maybe this is interesting to kind of see, you know, if you just saw her success, it would just look like she had just built this huge, flawless business up on her own.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is it was losing money, which I think they had to address it because I actually think part of her would have loved to have buried that away. But it was front page news across every news outlet the first time they posted.
And it was like hubby bails her out.
Yeah, the first time they posted a massive loss and then another one. And then word came out that David Beckham had put more money in, and then the sales figures came out that they had fallen again.
Yeah.
And
the only thing they didn't mention, but they also kind of mentioned in the first documentary, I couldn't work out where the alleged affair happened
it happened
during that timeline.
It happened when he first moved to Madrid to play for Real Madrid, and she was still in London with, I think, with Brooklyn and Romeo.
Oh.
It happened in that time period. But yeah, they
So
weren't gonna
everyone was
mention
still
that.
hating her.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think a lot of people at the time like, well, she deserved it because she looks mean.
Yeah, a sad cow. That's what they would call her.
Yeah.
Oh, see, okay. So the part that I cried in this documentary.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I think it was like the end of episode 2. What was it called? Kill the Wag or something
Yeah,
like that?
kill the wag.
At
Brutal.
the end of episode 2, and she's obviously getting ready for like her first massive show in Paris outside in the rain.
I loved those scenes. I was like, you know, I think everyone wants this tell-all of Victoria Beckham's life. We're obviously never going to get that.
Yeah.
I would have watched 6 hours of just her and her team putting together that fashion show.
Oh my God.
I felt so
was on the
soothed and
edge
happy.
of my seat.
Really?
Yeah, I was so
You thought,
nervous.
what's going to happen to Gigi Hadid? How's she going to make it down that
Well,
aisle?
I think that's literally like this documentary. I felt like it's perfect for people who didn't know much about Victoria Beckham because I just bought into everything.
Yeah.
Like,
and
for
that's
me-
right. That's what a documentary is.
Exactly.
It's for a point of view.
And the stakes for me were just so high. Like at the end of episode 2 when everything was going wrong and she had to like remove herself and kind of just like,
Yeah.
I cried.
What? Because you were just overcome with what she was going through.
Yeah, and I was like, what if it doesn't happen? What if the rain's really bad? Like I was stressed
In her Parisian castle.
out. And I was like, she's been through so much. And it was like also the way they framed it was just so clever in the sense of like using all those interviews where people are like bagging her out about her looks and like her weight and being weighed on a scale and how she like suffered an eating disorder and like basically like having to raise children kind of alone because David was like always overseas, allegedly having an affair at some point. And just like how for the longest time the world hated her so much. And she talks about in comparison with like Eva Longoria, her friend, who's like famous actress, and how she like was so jealous that Eva could just be herself in front of the cameras. And even till this day, Victoria can't do that.
Yeah.
She has to be like change herself completely in front of a camera.
Yeah, that's so interesting because for a long time, Eva Longoria, after Desperate Housewives finished, she was just seen as a wag because she married, I can't remember that man's name now. She was married to a very famous basketball player and they had the biggest blowout wedding that you have ever seen, like the biggest celebrity wedding, like 30 bridesmaids. She had a dress that like
30
would
bridesmaids?
have gone now. I think I've exaggerated, but not by much. I
That'll
think
be
it was,
the amount of people at my wedding.
it was around 10, but she has a lot of sisters and cousins.
Oh my God, I'd be like, Nana, you're up.
And they had this, and she had this beautiful, I remember seeing the pictures in the magazine just being like, the train could have stretched down like the main street outside of this office with silver, and it was this whole huge thing. It was on the front cover of every magazine. They're on red carpets together. Our producer's telling me his name is Tony Parker. How dare we say that man's name on this podcast?
Oh my God.
And she was, but she was like embraced being a wag. She was like, not that she wanted to be called that because she was also like a businesswoman, but she was like, I love this man. I'm going to do anything, even though I'm a famous actress. And then he cheated on her and she was like humiliated.
Oh.
So I feel like she and Victoria Beckham, even though Victoria stayed with David, I feel like there's some bonding over that.
Yeah. I would have bonded.
Yeah.
I would have bonded hardcore.
They're just sitting somewhere on the floor drinking their tequila waters because that's what they drink because they're like, it's no calories, and like bonding over their cheating sportsmen.
I also found like the little, I was a bit disappointed at that.
What?
The little cuts to the children trying on their outfits.
Oh, yeah. So we have Harper. You know what was really cute? Harper Seven Beckham, when she came in to introduce her mum at the magazine launch.
Oh my God, that nearly made me cry again.
Oh, did you? You know what I thought when she was like, I'm just like, is this girl out of touch, or do children now just not know like magazine titles because no one really reads magazines anymore? Yeah. When she goes, why? You can footage of her. She's looking around Harper. She's looking around, and then she looks to her mum. She goes, "Why is Harper's Bazaar written all over the walls?" And her mum goes, and Victoria Beckham goes, "It's the name of the magazine that's honouring me." And Harper goes, "Oh, I thought it was for me." And then just goes about her business.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that a kid thing or is that a extremely wealthy Nepo baby thing that she thought they'd just written her name all over the walls?
I have a feeling it is a kid thing.
Yeah.
Like
No, I'm not ragging on Harper. I'm just saying.
If it's a Nepo baby thing, come on, Vic. Come on.
Get it together.
Get it together. Teach these kids.
Yes, we saw her getting fitted for her dress, which was very cute. We saw Romeo and his girlfriend slinking in the background.
Oh my God, his girlfriend was like locked in.
Yeah.
She was like ready to talk, and like every time she went to talk, Victoria just kept like ignoring
her away.
And she was like, "You look beautiful," and she was like, "Thank you." And I was like,
"She's like, put me in the doco." No. Victoria's had enough with her son's ladies.
Yeah,
she's like, and Cruz was at the show, but his much older girlfriend, who's like 10 years older than him. I don't know if they were together then because this was a while ago. But whoever he was with kept getting cut out of the shot.
Oh, Cruz.
I understand.
And David Beckham giving his 2 cents, and everyone just ignoring him. Like not just Victoria, but everyone in that room ignoring him. He's like, "Don't you think that dress is too long for Harper?" And no one says anything.
Shut up, David. You're not wanted here. You're just here for the money and nothing else.
And even said in the docu, he's like, "I like to give my opinion."
Yeah, no one takes it.
We can tell.
Yeah, the stakes of that fashion show felt so high. I guess because she'd gone from doing that small showing in just a room and each year getting a bit bigger to an entire Parisian castle that they had rented out with that outdoor space and like this how high the stakes were. It was so funny because you could I'd love to see what Victoria Beckham is like when the camera is not on her, because I think she's been in front of a camera for so long and she's so curated, and that's why she never smiles out in the street or anything. She's got such a specific way, and I think she had given herself a brief before this started that she was going to come across as warm and caring. But I get the feeling that she's not like that all the time, nor should she be, because she's the boss.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to be warm and caring. But there were so many moments where you could just see people around her being a little bit nervous and her being like overly nice. And I was watching it and I was like, I just know that she doesn't act like that all the time. You know how the model was shivering?
Yeah.
And she was really cold. And Victoria Beckham herself, as her show's about to start, everything's happening. She's got hundreds of people outside. Everyone behind the scenes is like running around, trying to get things together. Everyone needs Victoria, and she's going and getting the blanket for the model and she's putting it around her. Then she goes and gets another blanket and she puts it around her and she's rubbing her and she's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And everyone around her is looking at her being like, "What are you doing?" Which makes me think that she doesn't normally behave like that.
Well, there was another scene
What?
where she tells one of the designers, "Hey, just letting you know, the outfit I got still had the pins in the bra."
Oh, I missed that bit.
That designer looked like they were going to die in that moment.
Yeah.
She literally looked down like as if she was about to cry, and she was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And she's like, "It's fine. Like, it's not an issue because it's me, but it's an issue if it happens on Friday."
Can I tell you the other thing that I thought I feared for this woman's life? When the show's going on and the first few models are going out and one model comes out and she's holding the handbag.
Yes.
God, I nearly fell off my couch.
Right?
I was so stressed. And she's holding the bag and Victoria's like, "That's the wrong bag." And everyone's like, and then she's like, doesn't say anything. And then the woman comes over who gave her the bag and she's like, "I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And Victoria doesn't say anything. But I'm just saying, has anyone heard from that woman since, or her family? Does anyone know where she is?
I felt that in my bones. Like, I felt like I was going to get fired.
Yeah. I think she got more than fired.
She didn't even make eye contact with her.
No, that's what I mean. Not with the camera on them. Yeah. So I wonder what actually happens. Again, if she's difficult behind the scenes, Victoria Beckham, she's allowed to be because she's the boss.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I'm not saying that women are always like that, but I'm just saying this particular, I just feel like it was very performative for the camera. And you could see how that woman was petrified.
Yeah.
And again, have we seen her since? Or is she buried under David's
I would have been
chicken
running
coop?
on that runway and ripping that bag off that model.
What about the model who came in with a scarred knee?
Oh,
Oh my God.
But
I would have gone and got my leg chopped off and a new one sewed on before
I'm sorry,
I came to
but
Victoria
like, you're
Beckham.
in Paris. Yes, I get it. You're allowed to see the sides. You have your one job is to walk down a runway.
And have your legs on show.
So you decide to get on a bike?
Yeah,
And
that was actually
Paris
bad.
is all cobblestone and gravel.
Yeah.
What do you expect is going to happen? Yeah. I've been to Paris twice in my life and I saw like 8 people fall down.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were saying I fell down multiple times.
I haven't.
Yeah, because you were sensible.
And I don't get on those bikes. That's
No.
crazy. Not a line bike.
She's like, you
They
shouldn't get hit by a
sometimes don't even
car.
stop.
No, I know.
They have a mind of their own.
They're just like, can someone just tell her she's out of the show?
I wish she was out of. You know what? I would have been like, if I was Victoria Beckham's PA, I would have been like, hey girl, so you're not in the show anymore because your knees are messed up.
Yeah.
Get out.
And I bet that did happen, but they tilted the camera
Luckily,
away.
she had to wear that crazy skirt that they weren't too sure about.
Yeah.
So-
Was that skirt keeping you up at night?
oh my God, that
Because it sounds
skirt.
like this is the most stressed I've ever seen you
I
watching
was
this
so
show.
stressed. So kind of like, I think the knee was like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because she got to wear that little pink top with like black pants. The skirt looked so much better.
And it gave them, do you think, I don't mean to put out allegations, do you think it was like a Tonya Harding situation?
Someone
Victoria Beckham paid someone to go and mess up that woman's knee.
like pushed her off the bike.
They pushed her off the bike. She didn't say what happened on
It's
the bike.
David.
It's David running behind her.
He's like,
and he kicks the
not on
football
my
at her.
watch. You won't ruin my wife's show.
He's like, this is all my money.
It's David and her business partner.
It's like they wanted him to kick a football so badly that in the last scene, a football just appears and they make it look like the neighbours kicked it over. But there's no neighbours around there.
I'm like, who was that?
And he kicks the ball. So I actually think that I think this woman was riding her bike through Paris and David's on the other side of the river and he just knocked the football over
he was
to her.
practicing for the documentary. He's
Yeah.
like, I've got my one job. I need to kick this. I need to kick this football.
So they took that. So I just think there's a lot of people from the Beckham team potentially missing since this documentary.
Oh, we have to find them.
But it's fine. So then we get into watching the...
Also, that model didn't apologize.
Oh, you've really got it out for her. Way to victim blame.
I was like,
She was kicked by David Beckham. She's been through enough.
okay, it's like, okay, what if we were doing like a live podcast on stage?
Yeah.
And
Which we would not be allowed to do because we say
know-
really inappropriate
yeah,
stuff.
we'll say really, we'll get cancelled. We have like a whole week we've known this.
Yeah.
We've been prepping for it. We've been practicing for it.
Mm-hmm.
The morning of the podcast, we decide to enter a screaming competition.
Yeah.
We're like, let's just do this fun thing.
We try and recreate hot ones and just burn our vocal cords.
And then we come and then we call. Can't talk, so we have to text.
Yeah.
to be like, hey, Manisha, our producer. So we don't have any vocal cords
Yeah.
anymore, so we can't talk.
It would
And then we
be-
get there and we're like, hey.
I love how you've given this woman who's probably getting paid like $10 for like a 30-hour work week, over 2 days, giving her this villain origin story in the background.
Yeah, who knew? I didn't
Who
know that was
knew?
going to come out of me.
Well, there you
I
go.
completely forgot about that storyline until you brought it up.
Well, clearly you've been thinking about it a lot.
Yeah.
The other villain there, I'm going to say, was Anna Wintour,
Oh,
who
my
at least she
God.
kind of speaks her mind because she gets there and she
She's
is
like, you got 2 castles, David?
Yeah. No. I'm going to say, I'm going to go on a limb here and say something about Anna Wintour. So when she gets there, she's clearly not happy to be there. And she makes a bit of a statement that every designer thinks that their show is the show.
Yeah.
And every designer wants you to drive 4 hours to their castle in the countryside. And that's important to them.
On a Friday night.
Exactly, in the pouring torrential rain. And then make you walk down 6 flights of crumbling stairs.
Yeah.
She could have killed Anna Wintour.
Yes.
Great for documentary views.
Oh my God.
She nearly toppled over a
And
few
she could have like
times.
fallen on the model and she would have scraped harder than me.
Taken out Gigi Hadid as well.
Gigi Hadid.
Can you imagine the front
Gigi
page?
Hadid. Nicola Pelt. They're all gone. They're all down.
I know, imagine
That poor guy who's like sweeping the rain.
yeah, he doesn't know the bodies he's about to deal with. So anyway, Anna Wintour didn't die at the show. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched the
Spoilers.
documentary. But she does sort of say that like for her and her colleagues, they're doing like all the Fashion Week circuits. And so by this
They're
time,
there to work.
they're tired.
Yeah.
They have gone to so many venues and shows and travel. They just want to see the clothes and get out of there. And she didn't want to drive to a castle. And then she's angry about the rain. And so she says that Victoria is facing a crowd that's not very happy with her.
Yeah.
Which I think she's kind of doing that to set the scene.
And be like, I'm not happy with her.
That too, but I think she's setting the scene a little bit so that when the show is received well, it's kind of like even more important because she had more obstacles stacked against her.
The funny thing is that everyone in the team is way, way more nervous about Anna Wintour than they are about Victoria. Like when Anna Wintour's trying to make a joke where I think one of the assistants comes to her and be like, oh, we have to seat you at the other castle.
Yeah.
And she's like to David, oh, you have 2 castles.
Yeah.
And he just ignores her. And then she's coming down the slippery steps and she's like, oh, it's a bit wet over here. And they just fully are like, yeah.
They're like, if we just don't mention it, she won't pick it up. But then she's sitting with David at the show. Here's my thing. I don't know if Anna Wintour liked the clothes because she didn't really say, but you know what she did like? Sitting next to David Beckham.
Really liked.
She was having the time of her life.
Her body was turned towards him. Yeah. She wasn't even looking at the runway.
And he was putting on a show. Yeah. He had one job that night. He's ignoring his children and various sexual partners sitting next to them because he's like, I'm not dealing with that right now. And he was focusing all his attention on Anna. And I think that David Beckham can be quite a charming man.
Oh, what I would do to have a dinner with David Beckham.
To him be spending the whole, and he was, you could see
I think he's the type of person that will make, no matter who he's like with, feels so comfortable, even if it's like going out of his debt to do so. Like he would do that.
Yeah, but I also think he was protecting. I'm not saying he doesn't like Anna Wintour. They've been pictured together a lot. They're in with the royal family. They're in with the crowd in London and New York, the fashion crowd. Like they're in it together. So I'm sure that he does like her. But I also think he was protecting his investment because he was like, the better time she has, the better she's going to like these clothes because she's already upset that she had to drive and she's rained on. And so he is like doing almost a stand-up comedy routine. If you look at the shots in the background, he's telling her jokes. He's got his hands in the air. He's smiling at her. He's leaning in. She's not even looking at the clothes. She's just looking at David Beckham's face.
Yeah.
And that's why I think she liked the collection.
He did his job.
Because she had a wonderful time. So then there's that moment at the end where you probably cried again where they're all like behind the scenes and celebrating and hugging Victoria. And she looks like she's about to cry because she's finally a success.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't cry.
Well, what's making her the money is actually her beauty brand, which I thought was interesting. It was kind of just touched on but then skated over.
Yeah, we've talked about her beauty brand quite a few times on the spill, mainly because she does like the piece to camera videos with David Beckham in the bed behind her. Very good marketing.
Great marketing.
If anything, she's great at marketing. She knows what she's doing.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it was just the beauty brand whole thing was just really interesting because it was just like, and we have this as well.
Yeah. But it was giving people like a more affordable touch point, and also the fact that she was able to market through her own social videos. And that was a big time when Victoria Beckham started going live and started doing makeup tutorials.
We never saw her otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. There was this whole like, it was like the only time she allowed herself to be like a little less curated.
Yeah.
I do feel like she was being very reserved in front of the camera through the whole documentary, and that they were trying so hard to make it seem like you were seeing the real Victoria.
Yeah.
But I don't even think she knows what that is anymore.
Ooh.
I think she's been scrutinized for so long and she's been putting on a show for so long.
So do you think she's like kind of like this at home with her family?
To an extent, like she's very kind of, I don't know, it's hard to say because we only see these little snippets now, but there are clips of her like on other reality shows or like behind the scenes footage and things from like, you know, over the last 20 years where she is a lot more like outspoken and a lot more, I don't know, like less kind of like lady of the manor.
Because David, I feel like no matter what, like every time he talks about her, he always like hones in on like how funny and smiley and laughy and goofy she is.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's all true. Again, it doesn't go with her kind of persona. There's that viral clip that was going around where she was filming for something and they were like her person with her when they were doing like, she's just like sitting up on the kitchen bench, like she's got makeup on but she's not all done up. They were talking about people they wouldn't want to come to a dinner party and the person says Eddie Murphy and she's like, oh, because you know Eddie Murphy did that terrible stuff to Mel B and wouldn't admit that the baby that she had was his and they had to get a paternity test and he was saying he didn't date her but he did date her. Yeah. All these things. And Victoria Beckham's like, oh, I wouldn't want him. I'd punch him in the face. I'd cut his dick off. All this sort of stuff. And I was like, where's that Victoria Beckham? Because I feel like that's how she talks to her friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Eva Longoria is a good time from what we've seen. Yeah. She's not hanging out with a boring person. So Victoria Beckham must be fun. Yeah. It's just that she's not.
Well, David said she's fun. It's funny because he always says she's fun and she never says it about herself.
Yeah. She just says that she's kind of...
She's like, I smile, guys. You just don't see it.
Yeah. What did you think about how she talked about her eating disorders and her body in the documentary? Because I was a little conflicted about all that.
Oh, were you?
Well, I just think like... I know that she was really raked over the coals from, as she's saying, from a young age. Like in dancing school, she was told that she was too big to be a dancer. And then I think when she was first like getting into the Spice Girls, because she would also wear the little Gucci dresses, people would really pick her body apart if she didn't look perfect. And so,
and she was also pregnant during that.
Yes, as a result, she got smaller and smaller, and then she was weighed on TV after she gave birth to Brooklyn. That was all awful. But at the same time, it's just hard because she's both a victim of this toxic diet culture and these terrible expectations and a perpetrator of it.
Through her fashion line?
Through her fashion line, through the way she speaks, through just it's like she's very complicit in that smaller is so much better. And I think she wanted to sort of say like, hey guys, I went through this. And it's like, yes, we know, but I don't know. But the thing is, she used to completely deny it. She used to which again, I understand because you're having your whole life dissected. There's things happening behind the scenes and you're so much younger. Like, you know, when you're in your 50s, you would be able to say you have more clarity and I think more strength than when you do in your 20s. But she always used to deny that she had any kind of eating disorder. She also used to say that she ate a lot. People just didn't see it. And there was that time remember when David Beckham went on a food podcast and he was talking about how much he loves to go out for dinners and things. And he's like, it's one of the greatest sadnesses of my life that I want to have dinner with Victoria or share food with her and she doesn't eat. And it's like, it became like worldwide news because the stance from the Beckham camp had always been like, she eats so much, how dare you? So it was the first time they had alluded to anything like that. And even the documentary, I thought it was interesting that he said to her as they were going out to that dinner, do you want a chocolate? And he pulls a chocolate out. And she's like,
I haven't had chocolate in 20 years.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Again.
Because how do you avoid that?
Well,
sometimes I have chocolate by accident. Oh my God, I don't know how that happens.
How? It's just in the kit. Well, we have some pretty good snack drawers stacked here at Mum Meal.
Maybe it's like sleepwalking.
Yeah, you just eat some chocolate.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think she was trying to sort of, it's like the curtain's fallen a little bit and she's like, I'm going to let you guys see how I actually act in real life, which is that I don't eat.
Yeah.
Because that's always been the kind of stance there.
Yeah,
so,
that was a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah. I just maybe wish they delved a little more into it instead of.
But like she drinks.
Yeah.
Which I feel like a bit uncomfortable where it's like seeing her consume like alcohol quite consistently.
Yeah.
Like casually, like out at events and stuff, but like never ever seeing any food around her. I feel like, but I don't know if that was like telling, like they did that on purpose.
It's interesting. It's more that I just wish they had kind of delved into it a little bit more. Because I'm like, if you're going to acknowledge it in a way, and obviously there's so much more to the story, maybe say it a bit more and also talk a little bit about how now with your brands and the persona you put out and the models you choose and the photos you choose and the products that you work with and all this sort of stuff that you are keeping this tradition of thin only, thin is best.
Yeah.
Everyone must not eat. You're keeping that going.
Yeah.
Even though you're talking about how damaging it is. And then she was saying like, but I don't let Harper see any of that because I don't want her to grow up like that, which I think is super important. And that's why I think when she's got the Victoria Beckham dress on and she's trying it on for the event, for the runway, you can just hear Victoria going, it only matters if you're comfortable. It only matters if you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't just thinking about how eating disorders get passed down between families, I'm just like, is that what you're saying behind the scenes? I don't know. We didn't get enough.
Well, I mean, like Harper will watch this.
Yeah.
So it's like she will see it.
But also she would have seen it. Like she's grown up with that being her mother. Like if she's, if she still has an eating disorder or something, like we just don't know. But like if it's in the house, then you're going to see it. I don't know. I feel like Victoria Beckham for so long was like the face of this movement of skinny is best. And then she was the face of like, this is what we do to women in the public eye and all these things. Like she's been that for over 30 years. I just wish they would have touched on that a bit more.
Yeah. So should we like, is she meant to like pick a side?
I don't even know I don't know if I want her to pick a side. And I also don't want her to say like.
Because I agree. I do like, I think what she's doing is like she's being very careful of like not trying to sound like a hypocrite. And it's interesting because like the eating disorder, like when she was talking about the eating disorder, it sounded like so horrific what she went through and like what the public was saying about her and her body and stuff like that. But I think it's also really hard to talk about it like that, but while you're still also probably going through it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I mean. I feel like she's still really in the throes of it, but she wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Because
then that also like it just like adds another layer of damage.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't also fit with the message of the documentary. It was like it's meant to be like this fairy tale ending. Like, look at her. Everything's great now. She's a successful business, great family. She's so healthy and happy. Everyone loves her. Like they were really trying to hit you over the head with that message.
Yeah.
And so talking about the fact that she might still have an eating disorder. Again, we don't know, but we're just kind of going off things that she says in the documentary. Or the fact that she really perpetrates that idea in fashion and beauty that thinness is best because of her fashion line not being size inclusive and the models she's choosing and just everything about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not expecting Victoria Beckham to fix that problem. Like she's only one person, one rich, powerful person, but I just felt like it was a bit of a missed opportunity. And I think it's because the documentary is from her and she got to pick everything. And I would have loved to seen what a documentary maker who could come in and just tell the story as a third party.
That's the issue I have with like most celebrity documentaries where they are like the creator, the producer, the director. Like it's doesn't feel like it's not true, right?
Yeah, but I think
it feels you're just watching like a movie.
Exactly, but I think that's going back to what we were saying at the top of the episode is like you've got to watch it in just the spirit it was intended.
Yeah.
And the spirit it's intended is that it's meant to be how Victoria Beckham wants us to see her.
Yeah.
The same way Miss Americana was about how Taylor Swift wants us to see her and all these other, famous people who put out documentaries, and it's like they're doing an Instagram dump. It's a snapshot of how they want to be seen and a curation of their lives.
Yeah,
and it's a highlights reel. That's what it is.
It is, yeah.
It's a highlights reel with a few like
Little
how like
tidbits.
when you're doing an Instagram dump, you always like to put a few like out of focus shots in there to show that you're real.
It's a great description of my life.
Yeah. Along with your glossy shots.
I'm a real girl.
Yeah, to show that you're a real girl.
Yeah.
I think that's what the celebs do. They put a few messy moments in there.
They learn from the best.
They need to get you in there to actually tell their story.
Let me direct this.
On the final point, so we end the documentary with David and Victoria in their expansive grounds.
I found that really funny.
Did you? Why?
Well, explain the grounds.
Well, they're in extensive grounds in their home in the Cotswolds.
Yeah.
One of
is that
many...
Buckingham Palace?
No, I think they got rid of Buckingham Palace. Buckingham Palace was the home that they bought when they first got together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know how David's talking about the fact that everyone in his family wanted him to marry like a
Manchester girl,
non-famous girl, because I guess they wanted a woman who would just be a wife, and he married like the most famous woman in the world, but they were just in love. Yeah, and then you had that scene where they're walking together, and then I just feel like so much was cut out there.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're walking together and he kicks the football
we're seeing his big garden.
Yeah, we're seeing his garden. He kicks the football to the fake neighbours, and then they're sitting down and it's like she has this breakdown to him apologising for taking his money.
Like a literal 2-minute breakdown, and then it was fine.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like there must have been a lead up, or is she just that good of an actress? And Spice World lied to us. She's a great actress.
She's a great actress.
I don't know. I feel like...
I thought it was quite interesting, and a part that I laughed at is like when he was like questioning her and being like, why do you put so much pressure on yourself? Like, who are you doing this for? And she's like, I'm doing it for you. And I could just imagine him going, no, don't say that.
Yeah, I'm doing it for you. It's like, you cost me so much money.
He's like, no, that makes me look like the bad guy. He's like, I think you're doing it for yourself.
Well, that's the other question I wanted to ask you. A lot of people have come out of this thinking that David Beckham has come out of this badly, thinking that he's like a walking red flag and that he's not on Victoria's team.
Oh.
That's the kind of insinuation there, that he's sort of working against her.
I think he's on her team. I just don't think he really knows what team she's on. I think he's a bit confused. I think no one briefed him.
Oh, on what the message of the doco was.
So he just came across weird. He's like, Harper's dress is too long. My parents wanted me to marry a Manchester girl. I didn't have any money, and yet I invested into this massive company. And now I was also part of this.
Yeah.
And then all of this was because she was doing it for me. No, she was doing it for herself.
Yeah. He's like, we could have just been raising chickens and cooking. We've got so much money.
He didn't get that much airtime. So
no, but it wasn't about him.
He's had his go. He's laughing with Anna Wintour.
Yeah, he's just there to be the eye candy for Anna Wintour. What a job. I thought it was quite romantic where he was like, when we first got together, there's not one thing about her I didn't like. I loved every single thing. He's like, now there's a few things I don't like.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cute because I'm like, you guys
it's a very married couple.
Married couple.
Yeah.
Oh no, we drank the Kool-Aid with
I definitely think he's on her team.
Yeah, I think
people are fishing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Come on. All she wants us to do is buy a freaking lip liner.
Yeah, which you're going to do.
Yeah, which I'm going to do.
So yeah, overall, I think I think it was an interesting look into Victoria Beckham's life, and I just want more of everything. I want more of her time with the Spice Girls. I want more of
I wish the Spice Girls were in it.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that.
Friends.
What about when she says, sorry, not to go off the rails, when she says that the one thing that's really stuck with her, she's like, one of the other girls, so referring to the Spice Girls, said something to me that I won't let go. And then she goes, it was Mel B, where she said, don't forget where you came from. And Victoria's like, I've never forgotten.
I've never forgotten where I've came from.
Well, because that is what she said. Okay, now don't read into this.
Okay.
But
I'm not reading this. This is my eyes closed because I'm not reading.
You're not reading. Your eyes are closed. Just accept this information with an open mind.
Okay.
We're not starting rumours.
Okay, my mind's open.
She said those things about Mel B in the documentary. She has previously talked about the fact that she and Mel B had a few run-ins over the years. She had
in a bad way?
Yeah, in a bad way. Because remember when they first got in the band together and Mel B thought she was a stuck-up cow?
Oh, yeah.
But they've been friends since. Anyway, Victoria Beckham for this documentary just recently had a big premiere. Geri was there. Mel C was there. Emma Bunton was there. And Mel B was not there.
Oh.
I'm not saying you look so upset.
Wait, is that because
are you gonna cry?
Well, maybe because she lives in Australia and it took too long to get there.
Mel C lives in Australia. Well, she's touring at the moment.
I thought Mel B lived here.
No, she used to come over here and host.
Oh,
everyone, yeah.
Oh, so she can do it.
Well, apparently she's overseas working somewhere. But
wait, what?
Was
she invited?
I'm sure she was. All the girls were invited. Well, I don't know. That's
do you
what I'm
think
saying.
the other girl who didn't make it in was invited?
Apparently, the story that
Natasha.
Do you mean Michelle Stevenson?
Sorry.
The original Spice Girl who...
Sorry, Michelle.
She's been through so much
Michelle,
already.
I forgot. Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know Michelle, she was the original girl picked for the Spice Girls and she dropped out just before they became famous.
It's something about Michelle's and girls group. Michelle and Destiny Child.
Yeah.
Poor Michelle.
Yeah, poor Michelle. Oh. That's our new shorthand when someone does something bad.
Yeah, poor Michelle.
So we don't know. Look, to be honest, the Spice Girls have been through so much and they have been through every type of controversy, every kind of fight, every kind of like situation from like abusive husbands to like infertility and like awful headlines about them and fights.
So
and
they
like
should band
losing
together.
No, this is what I'm saying. I'm sure they are going to be fine. She either couldn't go because she was working or they're in a spat, but they'll work it out. The Spice Girls always work it out. They do. I stand by that.
And that's the moral of the story.
Yeah,
the Spice Girls always work it out.
They really, really do. So overall, I thought it was an interesting look into Victoria Beckham's life. I just wanted more.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll just receive the message that she wanted to give me.
I feel like if we go out and buy some makeup together, we'll be into it.
All right.
We'll feel better.
Stay tuned for our review of Victoria Beckham makeup brand.
Beauty crossover, maybe.